What's up, y'all? Welcome to another successful Sundays. I'm, of course, your host, Coach AJ. Let me push y'all back. Dope Life Coach, the dopest life coach out there. And as always, we're going to start off with just 3 deep breaths. We're just going to clear out the energy of anything that was holding us back and holding us down. And we're going to allow and invite the good energy in. So you're going to breathe in through your nose. Okay. When you breathe in through your nose, I want you to think of all the good energy that you're bringing in. When you're sighing it out through your mouth, I want you to think about anything that was holding you back this past week. All right. So in through your nose, sigh it out. In through your nose, sigh it out. Last time, we're going to hold it for about 3 seconds if you're able to do so. We're going to breathe in, hold it for 3 seconds, and exhale out through our mouth. All right. Into your nose, good energy. Hold it. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Perfect. Now I want you also to relax your forehead, relax your jaw. You don't need to be talking. It's me talking. Drop your shoulders. Allow yourself to just have some peace. I'm just going to push this back a little bit. Cool. So welcome to another Successful Sundays. Today is January 18th, and I welcome you, welcome you. We're going to start off with a quick little affirmation because I did this last week and I liked it. And I feel like it's a good way to just set the tone for the week ahead. The one that I randomly picked, I want you to understand when I closed my eyes and I picked these. So the one that I randomly picked today, but intentionally, I take it back. It was all intention and it's just supposed to happen. I am enough and I will be enough. I don't know if you want to write that down, if you want to remind yourself, I am enough and I will be enough. There's something about that one. Not sure, but it hits. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the promises that we break to ourselves and how we could stop it. I do have a 4-step way of you just everything I do is with ease, understand, so don't feel overwhelmed of how you could break it down. But let's go into like how we break these promises and what our belief systems are, because that part right there is important so that when we put in and implement steps, it's not as difficult for us to implement the steps. Sorry, I'm still coming off my cold. A bit congested, so I apologize in advance. Also, I want to just before I really get into it, when we think of a problem, I say problem, but I say it's supposed to happen so that we can get to where we want to go. When we think of a problem that we are facing, it may not even be a strategy that we have. Sometimes we think the strategy is the problem, but the truth is sometimes it's our ego. Yeah, egos are great. Don't even get me wrong. Having a ego can help you, Sometimes it's ego and self control. I'm having a tough time speaking today. It could be our own self control of what we are pouring into versus what we are saying, nah. Because if we think something already is not for us, why are we pursuing it still? If we inside, if we honestly say to ourselves, this doesn't feel right, this feels unsettling, this doesn't feel comfortable, but I'm gonna do it anyways. If it's not serving you, why are we pursuing it? That's part of when we come towards breaking the promises. We will be saying, yeah, this is a great idea for them. But what about us? What are the repercussions for us? And we have to start thinking about that a little bit more. So, starting off with, you're not lazy. Let's start off with that. You're not lazy. Okay. That's not the real problem, is you have broken self trust. That's where your real problem comes in. That's where it all breaks down. Your self trust. How do you trust yourself? If you put trust into a pilot to fly you up in the sky, to go on your little vacation, right? If you put trust in a bus operator to drive you to your destination, if you put your trust in a professor because of the certificate and diploma they've received, what about the self trust in your ability to do whatever it is that you want to do? Think about that for a second, because every broken promise trains your brain not to listen to us. Every time that we break a promise, every time that we tell ourselves that we can't do something, we are training our brain to accept that. The best part about it is we get to unlearn. I think as adults, sometimes we forget. We can learn whatever we learned from our parents, we can gain it, it's instilled into us. And a lot of it is gems, and a lot of it will not work for us in this lifetime. It worked for them in theirs, but it probably won't work for us for ours in this lifetime. So we have to untrain our brain to train it again. And I know it sounds like work, but it's necessary in order for us to not break the promises to ourselves. Sometimes when we're breaking the promises, our brain is telling us we've been here before. Let's say, for example, someone suggests something to you for the second time. You've already done it. Man, I already did it. It didn't work that time. It didn't work that time. Where were you mentally and physically in that moment? It's kind of like books, right? You could read a book 5 times in your lifetime, let's say once every decade, let's say hypothetically. And each time you read it, it's going to you're going to receive more, or maybe you're going to understand more when you read it that time. Because maybe something beforehand you weren't in the position to even have it click. Now it's clicking. Now you're like, "Oh, wait. Like I've read this, but now I understand it more." Because every season's different. So even if someone's telling you, I've been that before, and you're like, I've done that, I don't want to do that again. That's us training our brain to say, there's no point. Why am I going to even bother? Right? You're pouring that into yourself, and that's how the promises unfortunately get broken over time. Let's talk about motivation for a second. I make, I guess you could say motivational videos, but I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm to the point, right? Motivation can spark a little, it can light the match. But leadership um, is where that keeps the fire burning. Is what that keeps the fire burning. Leadership is what you need. Now, a way that you could ask yourself in terms of leadership, and this is a tough question. I've even had to do that. Would you hire yourself to lead your own life? Would you hire yourself to lead your own life? And if your answer right now is like, probably not, don't hesitate and don't feel bad for yourself. No, start working towards it. What does this look like? Remember, you're not lazy. You're not lazy at all. The real problem is your broken self trust. So we're building it back here. If you wouldn't hire yourself, what like what characteristics would you have to have in order for you to hire yourself? How could you build towards that, brick by brick? And we're not talking about building it in like a week's time. We got to get out of the thought process that we need to build everything quickly. I had a conversation with, I did a workshop yesterday, and I had a conversation with a young lady who's just getting in university, 19. Okay, 19. Stress issues. I was mind blown, but not. Right? This is just the way of the world now. And I said, look, the best way you could do it is you break down your studying, break down the stressors. What is stressing you out? And let's start breaking it down. Now, I told her flat, it ain't gonna happen overnight. It may gradually happen in this semester you're in, and then the next semester you have a good habit going, and then you just keep going and you keep building, you keep building, you keep building. Contrary to what you may think, I used to be a slightly angry person. Slightly. I would say slightly. I'm not claiming it totally, but yeah, I had moments where I would burst into anger if something really ticked me off. And I was young when it came to me. My siblings let me know. And I'm not going to lie to you, I had to ask myself, how's this benefiting me? And it wasn't, right? It could cause health issues after a while. It's how people will see you and how you make people feel when they leave the room. So what I did was, like, how can I figure out a way to break this down? It took me years to control that and to get to a point of I'm not gonna let that stress me. People ask me all the time, how did you get that? I built it. I built towards it. Everything takes time. I know you see people 60-second highlight reel online and you're like, man, I can't wait to do that. Actually going back to yesterday, I saw a video of a young man. I'm not sure where he was, but he was, I don't know how much he weighed, but he was a bigger guy, and he showed 2000, I think it was 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26. And I'm so happy he did that because he showed how many years it took for him to get to the body he's in. He didn't just say, yeah, I did it, like whatever. He showed the years. The work that I talk about is not about you getting it done in a week. It's all about the long game. This is an investment. This is like the dividends that you're going to get later on. But the best thing you're doing is you realize I need to start on it now. I need to work on it now, right? It's about building towards the life you want. Build towards this. If you wouldn't hire yourself to lead your life, build towards it. I want you to think about it right now. How could I build towards that? How could I build towards the person I want to be? And I'm going to give you some steps. I want you to also think about, because we're in the new year, New Year's resolutions. I don't believe in them. Some people do. But New Year's resolutions, right? Starting and not completing a project, right? Personal goals. A lot of us will set goals, a lot of us will pour into things, but we don't actually keep it going, right? So think about this question right here. Would I hire myself to leave my life? And if you wouldn't, who would I hire? What characteristics do they have? What habits do they have? That's like your gem right there. What characteristics do they have? What habits do they have? And how can I get into that? What can I do? What step can I make this week? Once you do that, you grab yourself a piece of paper like this. A blank sheet of paper and a writing utensil is your best friend. That's the best way you could start. So, first things first. Would I hire myself? Let's say it is a yes. Okay, let's say it's a yes. What characteristics do they have that makes you want to hire them? If it's a what characteristics do they have that make you want to not hire them? And what would they need to have in order to make you want to hire them? If it's a straight up no, okay, again, what characteristics would they need in order for you to hire them? You grab yourself a piece of paper, you grab yourself a writing utensils. Then once you do that, now you could just literally say, flip the other side. What do I need to do in the first quarter to get to that person? The second quarter, the third. You don't even have to write it down each quarter, but what you can do, just start with the first. Then write down what goals can I set for each month to get to that goal. Then you could write down per week and per day. Break it down. 1% a day is better than zero, and 1% a day is far better than you trying to pull in like a whole 50% and struggling. We're not into that. Now, here's where the meat and potatoes come. I'm gonna move my behind over here. So the four steps into rebuilding your self-trust within yourself. Let's start off with, again, I already said it. Start off small. Small wins relieve. Sorry, ugh. Small wins rebuild belief in yourself. We constantly are going over these, and I'm gonna use social media as an example because it has warped our brains in reality of what it is that takes things to build. It warped our brain. I'm going to use my immigrant parents as an example. When they first came here, they did not have a house right off the bat. It took them time to build it to get to where they wanted to go. They didn't have everything, but they had to have the small wins. But in order to get the small wins, you actually have to move. You actually have to make moves. You can't stay stagnant. You cannot stay stagnant. If this world is a buffet, I'm not a buffet eater, but I'm just saying, give an example. If this world is a buffet, you have to grab yourself a plate. Ain't nobody gonna put the items on the plate for you. You have to actually put the items on the plate yourself. This is your plate right here. People are giving you items. No, give me the damn spoon. I want this. I want this. That's how you need to start treating your small wins because it builds it over time. Start off small, build over time. Align it with your identity. Don't do things that don't align with you. Don't do things that feel uncomfortable. Remember one time I hate squats, and I did this one type of squat where you have to put your foot up, Bulgarian. I said, no, sir, I'm not do that no more. I stopped doing the Bulgarian squats because it doesn't align with me. I do other types of exercises. So don't do things that are, even though I know understand, being uncomfortable means growth. But if it doesn't align with who you are and it goes outside of your values, you're going to find such resistance in what you're trying to do. If it's going against who you are and what you stand for, you're going to find a difficult process of actually getting to have the small wins and to rebuild your trust over time. So, does this promise fit the person I want to be? Does it actually fit who I'm trying to be, or is it just something I seen online and I just said, I want to do it? Ask yourself that question and track it. This part's important. Track and celebrate. I can't tell you how many people I coach in executive positions, and they have done big, monstrous, amazing things, and they don't celebrate. That irritates me. That this one right here as an adult irritates me because when we were kids, we celebrated everything. We celebrated every win, every goal, every mark, everything. And as an adult, we just say, yeah, it happened, and we just push the goalpost and we do the next thing. No, no. Start celebrating your wins. Big, small, mediums, I don't care. Celebrate your wins. If you have to go get yourself a Snickers, do it. No matter what, start celebrating, but track them too. If you have to create a Excel file or in your notes on your phone, sorry, I have a folder where it's called wins for the year. And each month I have to write down what I've accomplished. So it'll be January, February, March, all the way down. At the end of the year, I go back and I reread it. The whole point is, and then I celebrate. The whole point, and sometimes I celebrate in between, I'm not gonna lie. The whole point is for me to keep track of what I'm doing and ask myself, is it going back to the goal of the promise that I'm setting? It's all about the small steps. Everything is intricate, like it all aligns together. It's all a big web of whatever you're working on. So track and celebrate. Because broken promises equal self trust. And leadership is greater than motivation. I can motivate you to the moon and back, but you have to lead your own life for even this to stick. So, the 4 steps of rebuilding your self trust. Number 1, start off small. Start small. It's cool. Don't worry about it. Number 2, align with your identity, not the identity of others. And 3, track and celebrate all of your wins and your successes. So, where you could start from all of this is number 1, remove the guilt. You're not lazy. You're not lazy. 2, would you hire you to lead your life? And be honest and you ask yourself that question. Once you do that, then you could go into the build towards that. One exercise you also can do that has helped me the most is not even just a higher one, is you close down your eyes and you vision yourself a table. Your younger self is at one end. If you're able to do so, if it's too traumatic, please refrain yourself from doing that. And your future self is on the other end. You're in the middle. Now, what you could do is you could ask your younger self, what is it that you need? What can I do for you in this lifetime right now? What can I do for you here? And then you ask your future self, what do I need to do in the present moment to get to you to where you are? Your subconscious always tells you everything you need to know. We just have to listen to it. We just have to listen to it. Many times you're asking God for X, Y, and Z. God's giving it to you, but you're not listening. It's being revealed to you, but you're not paying attention. You're not listening. The whole point of sometimes our promises being broken is self trust and not paying attention, right? Again, you're not lazy. That's not the problem. Sometimes we think we are. Oh, I'm too lazy. I haven't done this. I haven't done. No, 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 no. You've broken self trust. And when you break it down into broken self trust, it also starts with your foundation. What does your foundation look like? Okay, there's cracks in it. We all have cracks. Don't feel bad about that. But what does it look like? What's the thing that is you're standing on? What is the root that keeps you going? What is the thing that you constantly know that you could turn back to whenever something doesn't really go the way you want it to go? That's where it all starts. That's where it all starts. That's the gem of all gems, our foundation. And we lose it sometimes as we become adults. But when we lean back into it, like for example, there's a phenomenon going right now about having hot beverages like water in the morning. I kind of made a joke on Threads and I said, Caribbean people, gather here because it's something that we've been doing and instilled in us since we were young. And I remember I kind of fell back from that for a bit. I wanted to have the orange juice in the morning, mash up the stomach. And I had to go back to the roots, go back to what I know, because that's the part of my foundation. So ask yourself, what is your foundation? What are you standing on? And how could you build the trust from that over time? Because if you don't have your trust, starting off small, yeah, okay. But what are you going to know what to align your identity with? Because that's the whole point. We want to make it so that it's not so much that it's easy, but it feels aligned and it doesn't go against our values and our morals and our habits, right? And then you track and you celebrate. All right? All right. So, what are you going to do this week? You're going to ask yourself, A, what do I need? Would I hire myself to lead my life? Don't be hard on yourself. Please give yourself grace when you do that. And say, you know what? What would I need in order to get to the point of hiring myself if I were to ask myself to lead my life? What do I need? What do they need to instill? Work towards that. Figure out ways to work towards that. Small steps. Start small. Small wins rebuild belief in yourself. That's where you want to start. All right. All right. I'll see you on Tuesday for another episode of the Dope Life Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's live and hope you give yourself grace today and be kind to yourself. I will see you next Sunday, and y'all know what to do. Walk with peace,